Hello, everybody. It's Friday, so that means Friday features with Blue Highway Games and myself, Amanda, coming from my house so I can talk to you about some board games because I don't get to be in the shop and talk about games. I know we've all been glued to our news apps this week, and maybe you're taking just a quick little break. And you can also catch this later on YouTube, so if you're watching it there, thanks for checking us out later. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I'm here to talk to you this week about Pandasaurus Games. This is a publisher, I believe, out of Texas, and they've got a lot of games for all ages and different types of games. Kind of a nice variety. So I've got some of their newer titles and one of my personal favorites from the last couple years to talk about. But we're going to get started with the youngest new game, which is called Robots. And this is a game for 5+, and it is a mind game. So the game is mostly played in your head. So for the adults watching that are familiar with the mind or the game, this is sort of like that. So the way it works is one of the teams, everyone's on a team, one of the team's players is going to look at the back of a card, and it's going to show them a snail and a normal robot and then a speedy robot and then one of the objects. And there's a number next to it which will match one of the numbers on the face-up card. So with this one, it would be a slow robot needing to find the ice cream on this card. So as we can see, the ice cream is near the end of the line there, and the start is way up here at the top. And the way the game works is whoever knows how fast the robot has to go, they announce it and they say slow, and then there's a little ice cream down there, and then they would say beep, and then in their mind they're picturing the robot traveling down the line until they get to the ice cream, and then they say beep, but he has to move slow. And then everybody has to then figure out where the robot moved. So at first, your group might not be very good at this. But the more that you play and kind of understand how somebody thinks is fast or slow or normal speed, you might be able to figure out where on the line the object is. Well, if you want to play along here for a second, I will look at a card. I will look at this one, and I'm going to say, oh, it's fast. It's fast. So I'm going to show you this card. And then I'm gonna say beep, beep. And then you and your family have to figure out where on that line the robot has stopped. So I can hear all your guesses out there in the chat, but it is in fact the wrench. It obviously works better when you're not playing alone in your living room. So it's gonna be a great one for families. It's ages 5+. And once again, I forgot to write down the normal prices for these, but I'm gonna say $14.99 to $19.99, somewhere in there. But it'll be 20% off all week until next Thursday, November 12th. And so it'll be off 20% off in store. Great little stocking stuffer. I think it's gonna be a fantastic game for families. And it was nominated for the Kinderspiel des Jahres, which is the children's game of the year in Germany, which is very prestigious. I don't think it won, but it was it's still nominated, so it's a good one. Next one I have is also small, and this is for older audiences, but this is 8+, so not a whole lot older if you're looking for family games. And it does play 2 to 5 players, and you may recognize the game, but this is the game Quick and Easy. So you're thinking, well, the game itself, which was a card game cooperative where you're trying to play down your cards from numbers 1 to 100, was already pretty quick. Not super easy, but pretty quick. This one's even faster, plays in about 10 minutes. And you only have cards numbered 1 through 10 in 5 different colors. So this one, you are trying to play down, I don't know where my other card is that has the number on it, but there's one that's 10 and one that's 1. And on each of those piles, you're trying to either build down from 10, like 10 to 8 to 6, always going sequentially lower in numerical order, or from 1 up to 10, going a little bit higher, like 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. But how do you reset it to get all 50 cards down? Well, when you play a color that matches the color of the card before it, you can ignore the number, which resets it to higher or lower. But it can break the number sequencing. And so using that principle, you each got your hand of cards. You're going to take turns playing down cards. You can communicate a little bit with your group, like, I really like this pile, maybe suggesting to the other players to not play on that pile or to stay similar number, but you can't say like, I have a red 3 in my hand. So you have to be kind of creative in how you're communicating with your team, but you're trying to play through the deck, get all the cards down. It is, in fact, quicker than the game itself. I don't know that it is easier. I only managed to play one time with 2 players, so we lost rapidly. So I don't know how actual easy it is, but it was certainly quick and a lot of fun because I'm a huge fan of the game. So I was excited when this came in. So that is the game, quick and easy. Again, I forgot to write down pricing, but we're going to say $19.99, maybe $14.99 if we're lucky. And it's 20% off either one of those numbers in store all week till next Thursday. All right, now I'm moving into what you all know now is one of my favorite categories, which is the roll and write. I've featured even an entire week on all of those, but this is a flick and write game called Sonora. And it is different in that you're not rolling dice. You are, in fact, flicking discs on a board. Now, I am from Canada originally, so I'm a huge fan of a game called Crokinole, which has come to the US in the last few years, especially in the gaming world. More and more of you are familiar with it. But it's a giant board where you're flicking stones and you're trying to get them to stay on the board, preferably into the center, kind of like a curling rink. I'm going to switch over to this other camera here so you can watch my fantastic flicking skills while I hold the board with one hand. And on your turn, you're going to take one of your numbers. Other of your discs will already be on the board, other players, as this is an example from the middle of a round. But I'm going to try to flick this into the zone I want my one disc to go. Clearly, I did that. That's exactly where I wanted to go. Rebound off the back and bounce back to the beginning. In fact, if we're playing the advanced version, you can't go to main area without ricocheting back. So I'm just that advanced. After everybody's flicked all of their discs numbered 1 through 5, then you're going to translate those numbers from those sections into these 4 little mini games on your player board. So each of the colors of that flicking surface arena translates into these different little mini games where, for example, in the fox one, if you have a 4 in that area, you're going to draw the 4 symbol somewhere in here, obeying all the rules, trying to circle cactuses for the end of the game to score some points. Way over here. I'm so bad at this. Mirroring. And then down here, you have the, you're trying to kind of create triangles that will go around different valuable cactuses, and so on and so forth. Like the river one, you're trying to move down the river and circle numbers, the ones that you move past. If you have a number 5, you'd count down 5, crossing out 1, 2, 3, 4, circle 5. So smaller numbers are good there. And this one sort of, if you've ever played Roll Through the Ages where you're trying to build the monuments, this one is sort of a racing with your opponents to fill in the different landmarks and get the points. Whoever can do it first gets the more valuable points at the top of the board. So that is Sonora. The boards themselves aren't giant pieces of paper. They're dry erase markers, so you can use it over and over and over again. It even has a solo version. So it is players 1 through 4, 1 through 4, not 5. And it is, I believe, $39.95. Again, don't quote me on any of these. I didn't do my homework. But it'll be 20% off all week until Thursday, November 12th. I am so prepared. So that is Sonora. The next one is not as new as those other 3 from Pandasaurus. It is from a couple years ago. It actually, I believe, came out in Japan before that, but then Pandasaurus brought it out over here. But it is called, I've dropped the lid, so I'm going to show you the rulebook. Pass Tally. This is an abstract strategy game that is a purely visual puzzle for 2 to 3 players. I've actually never played 3 players. I have played a ton 2-player because I love it. And the board starts out blank. There's nothing on it. And you will take turns placing your colors on each of the 4 sides. They'll be able to move throughout the game, so they're not stuck there, and they can even kind of cross around to other sides. And on your turn, you're going to have a selection of tiles, these wonderful little thick cardboard tiles to choose from, 3, and then you're going to place it somewhere on the board, which will change the grid landscape of the board, the object of which you are trying to connect multiple colors of yours with the lines on the tiles. The more tiles that the line crosses around to get to connect 2 of your colors, the more points you get. Now, if I have 2 tiles next to each other and then I can build on top of 2 different tiles, it's hard to show, but top of 2 different tiles, maybe I can go back to this one here. On top of 2 different tiles, if I use a line that goes onto a secondary level, that's actually going to count for 2 points for that round. And there is no limit other than it's hard to do, but the higher and higher the build, the more points you get for each of those tiles that you're going to cross over. So if it's on level 4, I'm going to actually get 4 points for crossing over that level. The game comes with, oh, now I've lost it. The game comes with even a little measuring stick so that you can hold it up next to the board as it gets full, so you can kind of have a better idea how tall your little towers are and your bridges. It is a fantastic puzzly abstract strategy game that I absolutely adore. I will say not everyone I have played with has adored it as much as I do, because I think it takes a certain way for your brain to puzzle. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy that puzzle. Like, I really like trying to figure out how I can place it in order to get the most valuable points. Probably not games for people with AP problems, but it is. And I think with 3, it might be like chaos. I'm not sure, because as you place and change your tiles for yourself, you're also ruining your opponent's ability to move, but it just kind of creates other opportunities for weirder, wackier paths. So I'm a huge fan of Past Alley. Again, if you're just joining us, didn't do my homework, forgot to write down how much that costs in store, but I'm gonna guess between $34.95 and, well, we'll go with that. It's a nice average number, but it'll be 20% off until next Thursday, November 12th. That is Past Alley, so not a newer one, but one of my personal all-time favorites, abstract strategy games of the last few years. All right, so the last one I have for you today is the one that you kind of got some glimpse of here on my secondary camera. This is Gods Love Dinosaurs, and it's another big box game from Pandasaurus, so great new gift idea for this holiday season. And this game is all about trying to build up your world from your starting tile and your starting dinosaur to create wonderful habitat for these different adorable little creatures that like to live on your planet, like this little frog. He really likes to live in the swamplands. So if I build a little swamp tile out here on the board, I can place it anywhere as long as I'm connecting on one side. I know the screen is so tiny. There. We have a little frog, and he's going to want to live there. Later, when his little frog area runs out of tiles, there's going to be a frog, a scoring action or activation action. Any of the little frogs I have out here on my board, and you do start the game with some, are going to multiply. So they're just gonna pop out as long as they have more territory that they like to live on. So you're wanting to place those tiles so that when that action happens, you have a place to put new frogs. Well, it's great that these frogs and cute, adorable little bunnies are living here on this wonderful earth. But as the rats and bunnies populate the earth, you might find that there are some predators that start to appear on your landscape. And the predators are going to get hungry, and they need to go for a little snack. So the little saber-toothed tiger here, he doesn't populate like the prey, but when his row becomes activated by having all the tiles removed from it, they're going to go hunting. And this little saber-toothed tiger, he's going to move 2 spaces, and you can kind of change directions, and he wants to gobble up and eat that prey. If there is no prey available for him to eat because you didn't place your tiles very well, or all of your prey have previously been eaten, they will starve and go away. But you don't want that, because a happy little saber-toothed tiger that has munched away on these little frogs, poor little frogs, when a row is cleared that also has this dinosaur tile, a lovely T-Rex here. It's going to go for a hunt of its own. And they don't starve if they manage to eat a little bunny, because that's, I mean, you know, a little bunny snack. But that's not going to make him super happy. She is going to want to eat the prey. And when they can manage to move on the prey, they move up to 5 spaces on their turn. You might have more than one dinosaur. But they need to end their turn on a mountain space. You do start with 1 mountain space here in the center, so you can always kind of loop around back. They're allowed to backtrack. They have to eat something and end on a mountain space in order to not starve to death. If they manage to eat prey along their way, they're also going to lay an egg, because she's super happy because she got all the food she wants. And so then you would add an egg to your nest, which is great, because then in a future round when the dinosaurs activate and they'll move forward throughout the game, you can choose to hatch one of your eggs into a second dinosaur that's going to pop up on a mountain space. But of course they have to both be fed and they have to both be happy in order to lay more eggs. It is a race with you and your fellow opponents to get through the game. The players who can get the most dinosaurs and the most eggs at the end of the game will win. So you need to populate with the prey, eat them with the predators, so you have lots of happy predators that the dinosaurs can munch on and be super happy to have lots of eggs. So that is God's Love Dinosaurs. I thought it was a super cute game. It's 2 to 5 players. It plays in about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. You have a certain number of tiles that you put out. In that example, you might have seen there was a +4 on the board. That's for 4 or more players. So each of the columns exhaust faster when you only have 2 or 3 players. And you do remove some of the tiles from the different stacks that will get replenished as rows become empty and the dinosaur is moving. The game ends when you've gone through, I believe, all of the stacks. There's A, B, C, and D, and you can't refill the board. Then the round ends and you look to see how many dinosaurs and eggs you have, and that is the winner. So God's Love Dinosaurs. Again, didn't do my homework, but we're gonna guess $39.95 or something like that. And it'll be 20% off for a week, so it's great because we don't usually put any of our new games on sale. And it'll make a great gift, I think, for people who like Planet, or maybe the end of the night after playing Dominant Species. You still want to work on the population of the Earth and dinosaurs, but something much later. You can go with this. The last thing I want to say is it is approaching the holiday season, so we are hoping and encouraging people to shop early for those gifts. The store is still fairly open and free of crowds here. Of course, we're limiting it anyway, so it'll never be crowded, but you won't have to wait to get in right now. So it's possible in the future we'll have ways that you'll need to line up before coming in the store. Hopefully people are ordering online and coming in early, so it won't be too bad throughout the month of December. And we're hoping that these featured games and their discounts will get you in the store earlier to get some of those items before they're all gone. And the last thing is we'll probably also have appointments that you can schedule. So if you're like, I really need to shop, I want a half hour to know that I can come in and get all my shopping done and get recommendations for different family members, you can do that by appointment. And we may even have some online. You can call in and have somebody go through our website with you to do some at-home shopping with you if you want to just stay at home and do the delivery, the curbside pickup, which we still have available on our website. Well, unless anyone has any questions, that is all for this week's Friday features. I'll let you get back to the news doom scrolling or scrolling of refreshing the news. Hopefully getting some good news. And we will see you hopefully someday in the future in the shop. Thanks very much.